Hey guys, Peter here to tell you about the latest from Deserted Fear, Veins of Fire, out April 25th on Testimony Records. The album has 10 tracks, 39 minutes in length, and this is the band's 6th full-length studio album. They are a German melodic death metal band. From the get-go, I was really impressed with the design of this record. A very cohesive album experience, a record that has a sense of beginning, middle, and end, and therefore you feel like there is a purpose to why are you listening to this record. It's not just about the individual songs and the quality that they have, but it's also about the overall record experience and how much fun you're having with it and how engaging overall it is. And I feel like this album has the right combination of songs and the right flow and the right order to really give the listener a great overall experience, and that is something that I always look forward in albums like this versus just having a bunch of songs thrown in together. So great design that not only gives credit to the quality of the songs, but definitely adds credit and value to the quality of the album itself. Now, once you get into the sound, I have to mention that this album feels a little bit rugged at times. The production is a little bit old school, specifically when it comes to melodic death metal, and you see that more ruggedness of the sound coming out of the heavier sound of the guitars, predominantly out of the heavier sound of the guitars. Now, this roughness of sound doesn't necessarily impact the album in a negative way, but it's just something that it's present. If you're looking for a more polished, modern melodic death metal sound, bands that even infuse a lot of symphonic elements into their melodic death metal sound, this album is definitely not for you because it has a little bit more of a throwback feel within the genre. I can think of a band that does something very similar to this, Kalma for example, where their sound, the production on their records is not necessarily polished. So this album has that almost live feel, ruggedness to the heaviness of it, and that definitely becomes a predominant factor throughout the entire album. You do see some more clarity, not overly produced, but some more clarity on the more melodic side of the guitars, and you could go as far as to even say you see that on the drum sound as well. Now, when it comes to the guitars, you have these two sides of the same coin. On one end, you have these chuggy, thick, heavy riffs with that roughness around the edges, not polished, giving a little bit of grit to the overall sound. Like I said, bringing a little bit of a live experience into the record, and that is a main driving force of the album. That is the main spinal cord, if you will, of every single song that this record has to offer. Then you have the melodic side. The melodic side separates itself from that ruggedness because while not being polished, it's slightly more clear and it's slightly more precise. But that is just a fact that comes with the more melodic sound being a little bit more narrow and a little bit more soft in the way that it comes across. So you have this duality guitar-wise, but a duality that is able to coexist extremely well throughout the entire record. I actually love the fact that the album has that sort of ruggedness, because when you get that more melodic guitar sound coming in, the difference is so drastic between the two that it makes the melodic portions of the songs feel even more melodic, which then infuses some melancholy into the overall experience of the tracks. Once you get into the drum sound feels very full. It gives size, and it really helps define the size of the songs themselves. It matches well with the ruggedness of the guitars because it's giving that oomph to the record and is giving that oomph to the tracks, but I really like the fullness effect that the drums have, and I like that the drums don't fall in line with that same roughness of that heaviness, and they kind of distort a little bit of it because of how more clear they are in terms of the impact that they have and the production behind them. Once you get into the vocals, I enjoy the vocal performance on this album tremendously. I honestly thought that a little bit of that ruggedness, I keep using that word, but that ruggedness of the sound is also present in the vocal delivery. So that creates a nice dynamic between the two, and it allows the overall experience of the album to feel more together, to be more cohesive, to gel better with one another. And the album doesn't feel like it has too many moving pieces because everything has a sense of purpose and it's moving in the same direction. So the vocals to me on this record were super consistent from beginning to end. I like the style, I like the delivery, but better yet, I like the way they merged into the overall soundscape that the band created. All in all, when I look at this record, the first thing that I said to myself listening to it is that, wow, this is way better than Doomsday. This is a much better album than the predecessor, and it's an album that definitely has a bigger fingerprint as far as the melodic side of the band is concerned. It's definitely a guitar-driven record all around, but so much emphasis on the melody definitely elevates the quality of the album. This album has this throwback Arch Enemy sound that I really dig, and a sound that Arch Enemy doesn't necessarily currently have, at least not on their latest album. So when I was listening to Deserted Fear, Veins of Fire, I was taken back to that more traditional, sometimes rough, heavy, muddy, live melodic death metal sound with some melancholy coming out of the melody. So this album to me hits home. It's an album that I really enjoy. It reminds me of a different time of how melodic death metal used to sound before bands start to super clean it up and super polish it up, and almost removing all the imperfections that gave so much quality and so much DNA to the genre. Now, as far as individual songs are concerned, I want to start off with Into the Burning Lands. This is the opening track on the record, and I love this track for at least two reasons that I can think of off the top of my head. One is that it's a great sounding track and it's a great track vocally. Two, it's a track that really showcases everything that this album is all about. If you want to know what this album is about, you press play on the record, you listen to the first song, it's going to be just that. Obviously, there's going to be fluctuations, not every song sounds the same, but the prototypical approach to what the overall record is completely defined by the opening track, and I love that on any record because it sets the expectations, and then when you start to see those expectations met song in and song out, you have a great album to listen to and you feel really connected with it. So this track definitely represents the album well. It's a great opening song because of it. I love the melodic side of the track. I love the darkness that the song also has. It's a track that showcases a lot of great qualities and a lot of great attributes. Very guitar driven, very riff based, with underlining bass sound that comes in every so often, and I thought that was really cool. You don't hear a lot of bass popping through the mix throughout this entire record, and I think that comes from that more rugged guitar sound that really hides the bass sound in the mix. But this track allows some points of clarity here and there, and the bass is able to pop through them, and that adds a nice little nuance to the way the song comes together. I also love the chorus of this track. It's super melodic to the point that it infuses melancholy into the track as well. So great song all around. Then you have Storm of Resistance. This song is similar to Into the Burning Lands. Very similar in terms of the style and the structure. A little bit more guitar focused, a little bit more guitar driven, still very thick and heavy, but the verses are a little bit more methodic in terms of how they move, which then allows the more melodic chorus to really jump out and separate themselves, and you can see the complete difference between what the verses and the chorus are offering to this song. I love the riff. I love the main riff of the song. It's almost repetitive to a certain way, but repetitive in a way that becomes integral to the way the song functions, to the way the song moves, and you don't get bored of it because it's good, and when it's good, it doesn't matter how much you repeat it, it's still going to be good. The chorus more melodic, but it's two different styles. It's a track that almost has two different styles. When I was listening to this song, I was like, man, the verses seems like almost an Amon Amarth song, and then you get to the chorus and it feels more like an Arch Enemy song. So it's a track that has a lot of dualities to it, but all of them represent the genre, representing melodic death metal, which allows them to coexist perfectly with one another. Last but not least, I've mentioned Arch Enemy quite a bit on this review because this album definitely reminds me of some throwback albums from that band, and no song better represents that comparison than We Are One. It's a chuggier song and moves better, it's fluid, it rips, it has nice mobility to it, it has great sound. The verses really push the song, verses super aggressive, very intense, and then you get into the chorus, and the chorus is more melodic, more contained, more epic. So all of these great attributes, but even the vocals on this track reminded me of the Angela era of Arch Enemy. So great song all around. It's just that your brain, when you listen to a track like this, it always goes back to where you feel like you've heard that sound before. And for me, it was definitely with Arch Enemy, Angela era. This track has a lot of that DNA in it, and that's why it's one of my favorite tracks on the entire album. This is it, Deserted Fear with Veins of Fire, out April 25th on Testimony Records. Let me know your thoughts on the band, on the singles. Hit me up in the comment section. I'll see you all in the next video. Take care, guys.